Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soapy. My co-star's laughing at me. My name is Rebecca Budig, and I don't know what he's laughing at.
You're just delightful. And I am Greg Rikaart. And today, our guest on our show is the lovely and amazing AnnaLynne McCord, who of course plays Kat Green, my
she's
co-star.
Emmy-Nominated, AnnaLynne McCord.
Oh, that's right.
Get it right.
She is, yes. Well, in addition to being a prolific actor and activist, she is just a delight. I adore working with her.
There she is.
Oh, there she is. And I'm so excited that she's here today.
So pretty.
So beautiful.
I cannot wait to talk to her. She is super smart, much smarter than you. No, she's self-proclaimed neuroscience nerd, and I just can't wait to talk to her about everything in her life.
Me too.
I'm also excited to ask her what a pain in the butt you are at Days of Our Lives.
Becky Joe, I am an absolute delight to work with.
I'm
an
what everyone
angel.
thinks. Mm-hmm.
And we are really excited, and AnnaLynne will be here in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Our next guest, she starred as Naomi on the reboot of 90210, as well as appearing on Nip Tuck, Power 3. I have to look at all of this because you've done so much, and the reboot of Dallas. But since 2024, she has played Kat Green on Days of Our Lives, which you can watch on Peacock. AnnaLynne McCord.
Welcome.
To Soapy, and congratulations on your Emmy nomination.
Thank you. Congratulations on your Emmy nomination.
Thank you.
Don't make his head any bigger, but it seemed like it was a very, very big deal to get nominated.
You know what? The category was emerging talent in a daytime show, but that phrase to me was really special because I felt a full reset in my personal life. Coming to Days, our casting director, Marnie Saetas, was the first screen test I ever did when I was 18 years old.
For what?
For Young and the Restless. And now she's at Days, so it just felt really, it's just serendipity all over the place. Real full circle.
Was that for the role of Mackenzie? Do you remember?
I will say, it's been a couple years, honey.
Not that
I ain't
many.
18 anymore. I honestly don't remember. I'm sure Marnie would, but we're going to go with Mackenzie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You've come a long way, baby.
You have come a long way. You started very young, like 15, right? You moved to New York.
Yes. Yeah, I think about that girl with her cojones. I'm like, where'd they go? I am fully castrated. That's terrible.
You're fully castrated now?
She was
That's okay, we can talk about that on this show.
Full castration. For, thankfully, it works out because I'm a woman.
That's the last thing I think of you as the last way I would describe you as being castrated.
Well,
you are so
imagine how big the balls were.
I
know.
I think I'd be scared of that version of you.
I'm scared of that version.
I'd be scared of that too.
Don't meet her in a dark alley.
Oh my God.
Or during broad daylight. She's ballsy.
This is off to a great start. We're talking about balls. Anyway.
I knew it was Greg. I figured,
anyway.
Nothing's off limit here. All right, so let's go back toward the beginning and talk about how you decided to make, when you had those cojones, like what made you say, like, this is the time, I'm going to make a big move, and tell us about it.
Well, the 9-year-old me had that's inappropriate. I'm not going to go there. She was the one with the biggest ambitions.
Can I ask you about that? If you're going to say, because I know that you came from a very sheltered family, from what I understand.
Yes,
and
that's
so
a beautiful word you chose.
Well, you weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter and things like that, right?
Yes.
So you had a pastor father.
Yes.
Am I correct?
I just did a Harry Potter marathon, by the way, Dad. So.
So take that. So what I'm curious about is how at 9 years old did you want to become an actress? What inspired you? What did you see?
Well, thank you for that question, because actually it was this industry that allowed me to fly, to soar when I was a kid, and everything felt so bound and confined. Mm-hmm. We couldn't afford to go to the movies, but there was a dollar theater, so we would go to the dollar cinema 6 months after the movies come out and watch the movies. And my Mimi always had us coming over and changing out the VHS tapes for her stories because she didn't miss her soap operas.
Which ones?
Yeah.
All of the important ones.
Which ones?
I don't remember all of them, but it was, she loved her CBS ones.
Yeah.
She's a big fan.
Everyone had a network.
Yes.
So if it was
Yeah, it was
CBS,
usually
it was
a
probably
network.
Guiding Light and it was World Turns.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I think Days of Our Lives was my step grandfather's favorite, and so those were always on at her house. And the TV shows, what I was allowed to watch. I would go to the dollar theater. I would see these movies and these shows, and the characters were bigger than life. I could all the things that felt kind of tight and constricted in my little child body when I was a kid felt bombastic and big and able to be expressed watching these bigger than life people on screen. So as an adult, it was like that's it. This is the life. That's going to be my adult life is going to make people feel tears, joy, all the emotions.
Did you tell your family that that's what you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, that went over well. I love how well that one went over. But you know, as a young budding anarchist whose middle fingers are always to the sky,
blow it up.
I was like, did you just tell me no?
Yeah.
Let me write that one in my journal for later. Do not thank Mom and Dad at the Emmys or the Oscars.
So how do you get out at 15? I know you were homeschooled. For those that don't know, she was homeschooled, and you graduated, what, at 15?
I graduated at 15.
Because you were so book smart.
I'm an
You
uber
loved
nerd.
studying. Yes, I know.
I'm an uber nerd. Greg knows from, I'll just get into fun facts and details.
Well, I was saying, you're just so strikingly beautiful,
You
but I
really
said to
are.
Rebecca, I said, her beauty is the least interesting thing about her. And it's true. But it's just, first of all, you were born the way you look and how fortunate for you, but like you are smart and you're interesting and you're
super
ethereal
articulate.
and
Yeah.
So anyway, I
I think
digress.
being homeschooled, I didn't know that there were these cliques, I didn't know I would have fit into I didn't know I would have been a Naomi Clark.
Right.
I didn't know I would have been a cheerleader. I was the little weird kid who was a math tutor to younger students in our homeschool group. And my older sister was Miss Popular. She was tall and gorgeous and put strawberries on her cheek because we weren't allowed to wear makeup. So she was like, and I was just this mid-calf socks, never took my ponytail down, frizz out to here, like math nerd who had these weird fascinations I would do deep dive on, like the Titanic. I did a crazy 22-minute long end of year program, full speech at a homeschool group end of year program. Yours was like 2 to 5 minutes. Talk about you can talk a lot.
There she is.
That's me.
The bombshell.
Look at her.
Yeah.
She found
Now
out.
I want a picture of that 9-year-old,
She found
though.
out. Oh yeah, I gotta get to the 9-year-old.
What'd you say?
I want the picture of that 9-year-old.
I know. I
So the
know.
photos are like, what? That was a glow up and a half. But I didn't know that I was judged by the way that I looked because I really wasn't. I was sheltered. And so I think it gave me a gift to be able to explore what was really interesting to me, which is the land of the frontier of the mind, the brain.
How do you make the decision then at 15 to just leave? Because weren't you in the South?
Yes.
And
we're
you
in
went,
the
did you go to
South.
Miami first or New York first?
I went to Miami first. There, I had gotten scouted, but I graduated at 15 because I was doing homeschool and I could go at my own pace, which I really, really loved because I just was like,
You went fast, girl.
I was like,
15
let's
is-
go.
15
Were you
is
just
pretty
eager?
I got
Were you
stuff
like,
to do.
clock is ticking, I got to get out of here?
Yes, it was a ticket out.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and I needed that. I needed to get out, and I'm grateful that that part of me that had turbo fuel took over, and I think I had the invincibility of youth to really fuel me, and I'm so grateful that I didn't have noise, and the noise that I did
Negative
have
stuff.
say no was
Yeah.
just fueling me onwards. So.
I love that. I've never talked to somebody who is homeschooled and had it expressed that way, whereas so many of these sort of roles that we sort of get relegated into are because of like peer pressure and what are the social constructs that we're sort of forced into at school. And I love that you didn't have any of that.
I didn't know what peer pressure was. I remember the first time I was 16 and the group of the models at a models department where I was making money paying for acting class and doing modeling, and I'm grateful that I was able to do that. But they were like, you want a beer. And I was like, no, I don't. And they were like, yeah, you do. You do. And I was like, I literally don't. I said, I don't understand. Are you okay? Did you not understand what I said? Do you speak English? Like, what's your problem? I said, no. And they're like, the third time I was like, you drink it. They're like, we're already drinking. We know you want to drink. And I was like, I don't.
Like, this is lost on
What a
me.
blessing, what a blessing in some way, because at 16 you're a little more like
You're
assured
so
to say,
impressionable.
but you're
Typically.
more assured to say no
Yes.
than you, at 13 and 14.
Were
you know?
you-
So if you didn't experience that, you have a little more self-confidence.
Although at 13 and 10 and 9, I was like, I would get in trouble all the time as a kid because I would be like, I will speak truths now. I will get in trouble for speaking truth and I will continue to speak truth. So I had a little bit of a My friends have sent me autism tests because I actually rate on the spectrum. I haven't been diagnosed, but I would believe it.
Well, we're here to diagnose you today.
You're more than welcome. I'll give you all my textures, taste, issues with sounds, sensory.
Well, it didn't hurt you. Let's put it that way.
I think it's actually, I was watching Anthony Hopkins talked about coming out at 70 with an autism diagnosis. And I was like, he said it makes sense the way I dive into roles. And I was like, I was hanging on his every word because it sounded so familiar for me. So I don't know. I think I have a hypersensitivity. Artists, we typically do, but I am curious. I have to actually do the official, but yeah.
Okay, so you leave. Were your parents like okay with it?
This was the beginning of my villain era, which would go on to make me a lot of money. I had learned from the best how to manipulate, lie, deceive, cheat.
Well, not Harry Potter. Harry Potter didn't teach you anything.
Harry Potter didn't teach me that, but I hadn't been allowed to watch Harry Potter. You know, those good morals weren't allowed in my household. My parents grew up in the South like me, and they, bless their hearts, as we say, they learned to survive, and I learned to survive from them. And so it kind of played them against each other during a divorce. They were divorcing, and I was like, well, you know, mom said that I can't do this, and dad said, you know, and I showed my survival instincts very early on. I spent a lot of time in therapy working through that. Yay. But yeah, that was kind of how I escaped out the back door. I had my graduation in the trailer park on September 29th, 2002, and I got in my uncle's truck and we drove to Miami that day with my Rubbermaid containers.
That is crazy.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Wild.
That is a great story.
Okay, so how do you get from Miami then to New York?
So Miami, New York was kind of a seasonal thing. The models would move the seasons, and I kind of migrated with that energy. In New York, which was much more me at the time. High strung, very type A and psychotic. Sorry, New Yorkers, you are. But
I love New York.
Me too.
I love that about you.
But it's true. You know, we're a little, I'm all for an F you over a hi, how are you doing?
Same. I'd rather know where I stand.
I want to know where I stand.
Same.
So.
But New Yorkers don't even say F you. It's more just like, I don't have time for the social graces, so it's just get me from A to B.
They're either nice or they're not. There's no
exactly.
like in between.
It's like we either love you
There's no wondering.
Don't waste my time.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You can curse on this.
Curse.
It's a podcast.
That's fucking awesome.
It looks like a talk show, but it's not.
So by way of that seasonal aspect of the shifting of tides, I would do the summers in New York, and then I just stayed on in New York. I found Meisner technique at William Esper.
I went to William Esper.
You went to William Esper?
I didn't take with him though. I was with Maggie Flanagan.
Okay,
I don't know if she was still there at that point. She might have left. She started her own studio.
Okay, I was with Knickerbocker. Sorry, I'm forgetting your
Yeah, but it
first
doesn't matter.
name.
You were at the Esper Studio.
I was at Esper Studios.
And it was amazing. It's like the 2-year
Teddy
program.
Knickerbocker?
The 2-year program. Yeah, I did
Did you say Tiny Knickerbocker?
Teddy Knickerbocker.
Oh.
I'm
I don't think
totally
it was
brutal.
tiny.
It was not Tiny Knickerbocker, although that would be wild and amazing. He didn't want to allow me in. I was too young. And then he didn't want to allow me to leave when I left early from the 2-year program and moved to, he's like, you'll never make it. You'll have no longevity if you leave now. And I was like, but my agent says to come to LA.
Yeah.
And so we love you, Teddy Knickerbocker, if that's your name.
It's Tiny Knickerbocker.
It's Tiny Knickerbocker.
Because he didn't want you to leave. We're going to call him Tiny Knickerbocker.
Tiny.
So then your big role, I guess, the big role is Nip Tuck, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that's like, that was a turning point?
Nip Tuck was a huge turning point. It put me on the map. It's such an industry, or it was such an industry watch show that it gave me a lot of momentum in Hollywood itself. And then 9/0 came after that.
Was your first episode, because I watched the scene where you're in the doctor's office.
I'm sorry for your loss of morals that you gained by watching that scene.
No, I mean, hey, it's been on TV. We may as well talk about it. But you are there because you want to have your hymen reattached.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was riding a horse,
Yes.
Greg.
I remember.
Stop
I just
interrogating
watched it this
me.
morning. But I mean, so not only do you sort of make a splash on this very flashy show that had a lot of eyeballs, but when I was watching that, I thought about your parents, and I was like, you know, given what a conservative background you came from, like you didn't just sort of make a splash, but you made quite a splash in a very sexually provocative
Did
role.
I mention the middle fingers that were to the sky?
No, so I guess I was kind of curious if they're
what their reaction
where the relationship stands today.
Well, they never spoke to me again. No, it was really funny. I told my father, I was like, I'm doing a show called Nip Tuck. You know that I'm doing it. now that I've told you, do not watch it. If you do watch it, don't ever tell me that you watched it. I don't want to know. And so then I got curious. After a few episodes had gone, a few weeks passed, my dad, no one called me. And I was like, well, did you watch my show? He's like, you told me not to tell you about. I was like, oh my God, you did. Why'd you tell me? You shouldn't have done that.
By the way, look, I also think we're both parents. I think, your kids teach you. And I learn from my son all the time, and I'm sure your parents have learned.
Yes.
And maybe part of their evolution has been because of you. I came out to my parents, and very shortly after that, got a role playing a gay character on Dawson's Creek. And I think that may have helped in some way too, to just be like, okay, this is sort of forcing you out of your comfort zone a little bit, perhaps.
Yes.
And anyway.
I also forced my grandparents out of their comfort zone because they announced to their churches that their granddaughter was on a show called Nip and Tuck.
Oh my goodness.
And then my grandmother.
Can you imagine her showing up
my God.
the
on a horse.
the Sunday after that air?
No, my grandmother was so
Link,
clever.
link, link.
My grandmother goes, the next Sunday she watched it, and then they all were like, well, which one was your granddaughter? She's like, she was cut out. Her part wasn't in there. She
No
wasn't.
way.
She was not the girl with the broken hymen, I'll tell you that much.
It's like my grandchild
She was not the
in
girl
that.
with the broken
Nope, they edited her. They didn't like her. She wasn't that talented.
Did you start to get recognized like on the street?
Trader
Was this-
Joe's.
Okay.
Trader
And
Joe's in West Hollywood
So
all
is
the
that
time.
when it started to change?
My gays
Nip
love
Tuck?
me.
Oh my God.
I still do, baby. Still do.
I love you too. Yes.
Or was it 90210? Because then you did get a 90210, which is a really iconic show.
Nip Tuck
What was that
Nip Tuck was very concentrated Los Angeles, New York recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much in the South.
Right.
When I would go home, we don't watch dirty little things like that on television. We certainly don't talk about it when we
They
do.
watch them, they just don't talk about it.
Right.
Exactly. But 90210 was like, I still get like, you look like that girl. I was like, do I? I love her. I'm so glad I look like her. Thank you. Especially now, I'm glad I still look like her.
Hello. That's
But
great.
90210 would be the kind of, it was interesting. I was in Israel in 2012, and a large group of young ladies who were they were in full garb, Muslim garb, and they were like kind of all like whispering, and I was like, oh my God, I'm wearing next to nothing. I'm going to the beach. I look so, like,
exposed.
I'm so embarrassed. Like, I'm trying to be respectful of, the area I'm in, and I was like, I feel so disrespectful. And then I hear Naomi, and I was like, yes, Naomi. And I was so relieved that they were looking at me because I was
That's so
not because
sweet.
I was being disrespectful, and I ended up going and taking.
You're like, that's why I'm wearing no clothes, because I play a vixen. I'm like,
Naomi doesn't wear clothes.
Naomi.
AnnaLynne wears. She's very modest.
So that not only were you getting like lots of fame and recognition and success during that time, but you also had a lot of personal growth during that time.
Yes.
So you want to talk a little bit about when you were, it was the episode where your character was involved in a
She was
sexual assault.
by her teacher. And it was this crazy experience because when you go through these things in life, and it doesn't matter, I never measure boo-boos with babies, right? And you don't have two 6-year-olds come in and you're like, your boo-boo's worse than her
Right,
boo-boo, so we're gonna give her love and not you. But as adults, we measure our pain oftentimes. And that little inner child inside of us says, oh, mine's not big enough to matter.
Oh.
And so we're very unconscious for a long time. And so in these, I see patterns now, these patterns that kind of cycle until they complete. And I didn't know why I was attracting all of these things in my life. I was suicidal, I was deeply depressed, I was highly anxious, I had all kinds of things going on. And by season 3 of 9-0, I very excitedly took on the storyline. The showrunners came in and they were like, will you talk with us? We want to do something kind of more serious. Are you willing to do this? And I thought it was great. Like, I had been an ambassador and advocate fighting human trafficking. This was a topic that I could now very easily segue and pressed from talking about my character's storyline to the work I do, altruistically speaking.
Right.
And this had happened to you before, right? We're because you're very forthright about all of the things that have happened to you and your mental health.
Yes.
And so you had been...
At this point, I had not spoken, I didn't remember. Like, I wasn't The brain is brilliant. The survival mechanisms in our very intelligent systems just do what they need to do to keep living. Yeah, just to survive. It's not a quality of life, it's just stay alive. And I hadn't brought to conscious awareness the real impact of experiencing a sexual assault when I was a teenager. What I would later at 31 go on to remember was childhood sexual abuse for years and years. None of that was in my direct consciousness. And it wasn't until the scene where Jessica Straup's character, Silver, is kind of going after Naomi's character, or my character, Naomi, saying, you were flirting with a teacher, you were this, you were that, like, you deserved it. And I had deeply believed that I deserved what happened to me. And it hit the chord that triggered that response, that panicked response that happens when we touch the pain too deeply. And I'm so glad that we had shot the wide shots, we had shot my coverage, we were on her close-up, and actors, we save it until it's our time. Unless we're on soap operas and then we have to do all of it.
For those who don't understand, for people who are listening, they when they shoot a show like that, they shoot a wide shot where you can see the whole picture, and then for a close-up shot, they'll
take all the cameras and they'll put them on AnnaLynne.
Yeah, just AnnaLynne.
And then they'll turn them around.
They're going to turn around and shoot her co-star.
Yes.
So they were on your co-star.
They were on my co-star's coverage. It was the last shot of the night because the universe was looking out, but it hit me
suddenly. So it was
because she went. When we're doing those type of shows, the actors save their, until they're close up. And so she kind of gave it to me a little bit, but when she was on her coverage, she just hammered me. And it was in the intensity of her focus, basically telling me, you deserve this, AnnaLynne, not Naomi. I separated, the Naomi disappeared, and I just heard AnnaLynne deserved this. And then the whole entire system blew up, and I took off running. My beautiful, precious makeup artist, Robert Rapport, came and found me on the stages. I had tucked into a corner of the stages and was facing the wall, like literally hiding in one of those, those giant steel rebar things that hold up those giant stages. He's like, it's not happening anymore. You're safe. He just knew. And I always say, I would like to say that I then immediately got therapy and support. No, I went more unconscious at that time because I was overwhelmed. I was at my boiling point.
So what did you do? Chalk it off as like, I just got hit by that, what she was doing kind of a thing?
It was,
so how did you,
how
do you brush something like that off?
So basically you don't. Your system dissociates. And I later was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder because in order to cope with the intensity of my life, from early life to then going into a highly intense industry like the film industry, my system just couldn't cope. So it just fragmented me. So what happened was that moment reached a red line cap point, and then I split. And I just went home and zoop, numb, disappeared. Not like, I call it a system override because I have absolutely no part in it, in my, who I would say is my true self, that my system decided, you can't handle this, split. And so I just went into another AnnaLynne. And then all of those AnnaLynnes would start to find their glue, as I found self-love and self-forgiveness and compassion for myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about, because I've heard you talk about that experience and how that triggered, not immediately, but you ultimately getting diagnosed with DID. But I'm curious what the recovery looked like, and I think there's probably people listening who want to hear about that. Yeah. And how did you find the help that you needed? And I'm really curious about even just the way you described it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense about finding that glue to center and integrated. Is that the word you use?
Integrated.
How does that? Fusion. How do you go from where you're split and fragmented to integration?
Well, I said bippity boppity boo with my fairy godmother. No,
you didn't do years of work on that.
No, it was nothing. We just fairy wanded that. First of all, thank you guys both for letting me share this and being here with me in this space.
Thank you for being so open about it. Yeah. I think you help a lot of people by doing that.
It's such a gift of
erasing
our
a stigma.
And you really like. I'm not just being flowery. You do make the most of your platform, and that is commendable.
Oh yeah, on many levels, but get back. You can answer his question
Yes,
now. We'll
but-
stop interrupting
Sorry.
you. We're
No.
terrible.
We think you're
hosts.
amazing, but
Sorry, guys.
but we'll stop.
No, but I felt that in my heart, and I had to say
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. And for anyone who is facing this right now, our tendency in the West is to push down.
For those who are
avoid,
listening, she
suppress.
indicated, putting a pill in her
Putting a
mouth.
pill in your mouth.
And taking
and
some medicine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and indigenous medicine, the Eastern medicines, our ancient medicine of this planet is that pain is here to tell us something.
Yeah.
It's the final part of our experience that pain alerts us that something's wrong. And I talk about how I used to carry my high tolerance for pain around like a badge of honor, and the truth is I had to arrive at a point where I asked myself, why can I tolerate pain at this level? Why? And the tolerating it was not what I experience now. I was dissociating from it, and so it was being stuffed in a box somewhere. Now I embrace the pain, and I say, tell me, if you had a voice, what would you say to me?
Yeah.
Talk to me right now. I'm in excruciating, devastating pain because I'm being rejected by a guy that I'm in love with. Tell me where the pain is. Take me to the point of the bleed. Let me put a bigger bowl around this tiny cup. Dump it all into the big bowl, and mama can hold it. And I speak to myself like that. And these are tools that have intuitively come to me, that have come to me in treatment, PTSD treatment, EMDR, so post-traumatic stress disorder. Amazing treatment for that is eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
I know EMDR.
War veterans, domestic abuse and sexual abuse victims. I like to call them survivors because we're still kicking. It's an incredible support for that, and the reason for it is it's bilateral temporal lobe activation, so both sides of the brain are online at the exact same time, and it gives you a CEO position on something where you had no power and you were victimized. And so it began the process of bringing me back online. But the glue is love. We start out whole, and we can always be what we are. I was never not whole. That's the part that I've come to. I was never not whole. It was hiding from me. The shards, the fragments of I use the analogy of taking a hammer to a mirror, and then suddenly there's so many knees, but the frame was never broken. So all I had to do was glue those little pieces back together. And I say all I had to do, loving yourself is the hardest, scariest thing. And then falling in love. I've recently found the love of my life. I was in love with him 9 years ago, and he was like, he kind of liked me.
Tell us about him.
Now, oh my God, he's so sexy and yummy too. Also, I'll show you pictures later.
Okay.
Oh, that's so great.
But
how do you
trust the love?
Right, I was going to say, how do you navigate?
Myself.
How do you navigate this with a partner? Like, you have to choose somebody that can really be sensitive and honor you.
It's so true, but I don't want to put that on to a listener or any of us, because we actually don't know how to choose what we need when we're still abusing ourselves. So if you're choosing a toxic partner, it's okay. It's okay that you're choosing that. There's nothing wrong with you. You're trying to work out an ancient pattern that needs to heal. There's nothing wrong with you.
It's almost part of the recovery.
That's a part of the recovery.
Yeah.
It's feeling into the timelines that those pains create. And if you can feel them bigger, like Eastern medicine, take me to the point of the pain, tell me what the pain means, give it a voice.
So you weren't ready for him 9 years ago.
I wasn't, and he wasn't ready for me. We actually, I was so crazy. I had screenshots of all these text messages. I was like, I kept all of our chains. I have all of these. And he's like, that's so weird. Why would you do that? But I was like, now
I knew.
I'm finding things where I actually wrote to him and said, I don't think we're ready for this love now, but maybe we will be in the future. Maybe we should just try to wait. And he's a rugby player. He's one of the greatest to ever play the game. He's unbelievable, so amazing to watch, and so yummy. Oh my God. Because like rugby players, like just.
Can we get a picture of him?
Where is he? The rugby player.
Does he still play?
He retired last year officially, but which is good because I was Los Angeles, like married to the job. He was married to the job at the time, but we were on and off long distance and kind of in an open dynamic because we were both working out things for 4 years. And then he chose to do the right thing by by one of the fun moments he had. And there was a young woman who, decided she was gonna keep the baby. And he reached out to me and he's like, you'll be proud of me. I'm gonna give this little boy what I never had, and I'm gonna show up and be. And it was heartbreaking. But I had never told him that I loved him, and that was the first time I actually did. I wrote him a letter and I said, these 4 years, I just never actually told you how I truly feel, and now that I technically can't have you, I see how deep my love for you is. I want you and her and the baby to have a beautiful life together, and I love you, and I wish you all the best. And there's a crazy blonde chick on the other side of the planet. He's British, he's in London. I was like, who's on the other side of the planet rooting you on, cheering you on? And then out of seemingly nowhere, I say magnetism, we show up in each other's lives again last February, March.
Yeah, there's no coincidence.
It was not a coincidence.
That's like the textbook, when you love something, set it free, and if it loves you, it'll come back to you. It's like, that's like a
Yes, there was
like
an
a fairy
Enya
tale.
song that I was listening to way too much.
It's a fairy tale. Well, okay, so going back to work,
Yes.
when this all happened to you and you started speaking about it, how did that affect your career? Were you nervous about how people would perceive you? Or how did that work for you?
Everyone in my world was nervous about it. Bless all y'all hearts. I'm so sorry I freaked you out so many times. Just like a continual building incremental freak out for everyone in my world. And then I just think it's completely fine. Like they're like, you can't say these things. Like the industry's not gonna hire a crazy lady. And I was like, are you calling me crazy? Call me crazy one more time. But I didn't get it. Like I didn't see how this wasn't the only thing to do. If I am blessed with this position, and I remember the first time I got paparazzi'd with no makeup on, and I have scarring, I was so insecure about my horrific cystic acne, it was so bad, and I was in the height of 90210, and I remember thinking, if they're ripping me apart like this, and I have people who look up to me, how much worse do they feel about themselves? If this is being said about me.
Right.
So then the middle fingers came back out. They often do. And so it just felt right. But I will say, my team, they knew they had a wild card with me from day one. But they were just sometimes when you talk like this, it's like.
But you were an activist already.
Yes.
You already had your organization. Is it?
My anti-human trafficking.
Yes,
organization.
is it Mother One or is it? No.
The Love Storm.
The Love Storm. Wait, didn't you have another?
Oh yes. So Together One Heart.
Together One
Heart was the
a what?
501c3. Unfortunately, we lost our 501c3 status during COVID, but it coincided with a campaign that we were launching called the Love Storm, and I just feel like that was the universe giving us a little wink because we got momentum with the campaign that we lost because of the 501c3 status that went away during COVID, and then as a result we were able to procure a fiscal sponsor. So we just were able to kind of seamlessly shift over to that because sometimes good deeds do go unpunished, and the universe was looking out. But I started working with the ground team in Cambodia in 2009. And so it's been 16 years that I've been working with. And so these organizations and the campaigns support that team. And my love is coming to meet my girls for the first time this holiday. We're gonna be there bringing Christmas gifts. We bring Santa's sleigh to the kids in Cambodia. But so that's a really, really big part of my healing was actually going to Cambodia. And I was like, I'm not coming in as the president of this organization. I'm coming as a girl that needs to be saved. Help. I don't know what to do. My body's splitting and doing these kind of seizure-like episodes. And I ended up having two of the young girls that I put through college for psychology were my 24/7 care while I was there. My doctor in the US was like, you built this community around you before you ever remembered so you could be held.
This is all before you discovered your own.
10 years of doing that work and
That's
never
incredible.
hearing those stories and never connecting the dots on my own life. It's fascinating how the system works to protect us.
So it's Love Storm.
The love storm.
The love storm.
Yeah, we're gonna storm the planet with love. I needed it to be like I was moving into my hippie phase, but I wasn't fully there yet. I was like, I need spikes
you're in
or
it.
storm.
You're in it?
I'm
She's
full
in it?
hippie now, baby.
Her dressing room. You walk into her dressing room, like,
Kumbaya,
a hippie
let's
lives
go.
here.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Why? What is your dressing room like? Tell
Oh
us
my
about your
gosh.
dressing room at
It's
Days of
just,
Our Lives.
you know,
The Buddhas, the
there's
crystals.
Buddhas. It's yes, Buddhas, crystals, and you walk in and you just feel like you feel your heart rate slow down, and it's so relaxing. And it's
We before we read lines, we all chant Om Mani Padma Hum.
Well, okay. So tell me, what is Love Storm? What is it?
and do you take
So- It's a
donations? Is what I was.
We do, yeah.
take what?
TheLoveStorm.com. We
Donations.
receive donations. They go directly to the ground team in Cambodia. But essentially, I needed, because my memories had come back, and this was my story too, in a lot of ways. Not being trafficked, but not measuring boo-boos of children.
Right.
I shared the same types of terror and
Trauma.
heartbreak and pain and trauma as the young girls that I've been working with for a decade prior. So I wanted it to be our story, our campaign. And it was the amalgamation of what started to help me heal, which was the metta meditation, the compassion, loving kindness meditation that Buddhists practice, which is, may I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be free from suffering. May you, someone that I deeply love and care for and adore, be happy, be at peace, be free from suffering. And then may my abuser, who destroyed my life in so many ways, may he be happy, may he be at peace, may he be free from suffering, which was very hard to do at first. And I didn't want to, but what came to me one day was, if he had been happy, if he had been at peace, if he had been free from suffering, he never could have done this to me. All of the different people that have harmed us in our lives, happy people just don't want to hurt.
Hurt people.
I want other people to be
Have you
happy.
confronted your abuser?
Yeah. He said, I'm sorry you're having these bad thoughts. And I was like, well, thinking I left the oven on when I go on vacation is a bad thought. This is a little bit more than that, my love. But it was, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to I actually offered to pay for him to get help because I knew that this happened to him. And it turns out that it had happened to him. And we don't do this. This is not in our zeitgeist unless it's in our zeitgeist, right? It's not, we repeat cycles. We rarely create them, right? So I broke the cycle. I'm breaking the cycle every day. The deeper I'm willing to feel, the anguish, the hurt, the pain, the joy, the compassion, the exuberance, the love that the pendulum swing has afforded me. I had dreams the other day that I saw my abuser in my dream. I had no remembrance that I was ever abused. We were having a normal conversation. He was helping me buy a house. Like, it was the weirdest thing. When I woke up, I remembered the life story here. It's not in my body. I have brought so much love and compassion to my own self and to him that I think it's really, that's the thing that I want to say, is that it's possible to not just survive, but to genuinely thrive after these things when we don't shy away, suppress, take that pill, avoid, but we choose to feel those scary feelings that have been hiding in those drawers for so long.
You amaze me.
I know. I want everyone.
I mean, I work on my own life, and I didn't have that the traumatic experience, and I just think about the work I do to change my own habits and the things I've learned from my family, right, growing up, and how hard that is.
Yeah.
It's just you're just amazing.
Well, I deep bow to you. I know you, so deep bow to you. But any of us who choose to do any of this work, deep bow. Yeah. Because the reality is, this is hard stuff. It's not ezy. I used to be like, why don't people just blah, blah. Once I got into I was like, you know what? I get why people just drink on the weekends, so pretend like there's nothing, because this is hard stuff. And I'm in a position, I have the finances. I have the ability to check out of life,
resources, yeah.
the resources, the access.
Yeah.
How much more difficult is this when you don't have the money, the time? You've got kids, you've got, and you're trying to face long generational trauma in your family.
Yeah.
And you were doing that while you were on 90210?
No, I actually I did ayahuasca in the summer of 2017. And a year later, and I deeply believe that it.
Tell.
I'm really dropping some wild stuff here, y'all.
But some people may not know what ayahuasca is.
So ayahuasca, just ask your friendly AI. They'll give you all the details you need. Ayahuasca, if you can spell it, is.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, I don't know if I can spell that one.
It doesn't spell the way you think it would. It's the most powerful hallucinogenic on the planet on one side. It's an unbelievable ancient medicine on the other.
Yeah,
and I was a part of a documentary. I didn't believe in this stuff. I was just, show me the science or I'm not interested. But there's an interesting thing about ayahuasca. It's major, it has 2 vines in the Amazon that are utilized, and one is DMT. And we create that. Almost every organism on the planet creates DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Yes, I'm a nerd, everybody, and I already told you that, so you should know.
And I know you love the brain, and you love neuroscience.
I love the brain. I love neuroscience. This medicine can rewire a brain. 20 years of therapy in one night was what it felt like for me. And mind you, how terrifying is 20 years of therapy stuffed into one night. So I went to hell and back. But it sent me into the recesses of the blocked off parts of myself. And I think my nervous system protected me for as long as it could. And then when I was safe, when I had my last major commitment outside myself in June of 2018, 2 months later, my memories came back. And I was able to tell my team, I'm not working. I put myself into intensive outpatient care. 4 days a week, I was getting treatment. A neuroscientist friend of mine said, you cannot work through this alone with therapy. You need other things that are somatic-based, body-based. So I did sound baths and breath work and kundalini. I was like, let's go, take everything. And I will say to this day, the breath practices that I do keep me at a status quo where it never reaches overwhelm. Yeah. I can hold a lot more now.
You do that every morning?
I kind of listen to my body. I'm not a routine person. I'm a Cancer moon, Cancer hippie, flow with the tides. But I'll do like concentrated periods where I'll do it like every single day, and then I'll give myself integration, let myself breathe, and kind of. So it's medicine time to integrate. Medicine time.
So when you took that break, then is that when you got back into it and got this role at Days of Our Lives, Cat Green?
So I had a little bit more time that passed before this, but it led to this moment where I was like, okay, I need to just have a new stamp on, a new lease on life. And I sold everything here and moved back to the East Coast. And the second I moved, which is what you know to do, book a vacation, you get a job.
Yeah.
Move across the country, you get called back. Yeah. So I Murphy's Lawed it. I moved back to the East Coast, and voila, Marnie called and said,
God
you
bless
come
Marnie
out.
Seda.
Marnie Seda, we love you.
We've shouted her out on the show, and she's just the greatest.
She is.
Yeah. So when you got an offer from a soap, you had been doing primetime shows. So how was that decision for you? Did you feel confident about that? Were you?
Well, because I'm a hippie, I do my career in a very different way. I hope my team's not listening, because they're gonna be like, oh, now we know what it is. So I have a new team that's here with us, actually. You just can't see them. They're my invisible team. Okay. I have a group of, slide on in here, Archangel Michael. I have a divine team now that I opened up to during COVID. I couldn't sit still, even though I'm a major meditator. I just like to astral travel and go on, big journeys. But I was like, I need to do something, and I signed up for all these classes, and I ended up becoming a Reiki master twice over. So a shamanic Reiki master and a traditional Reiki master. So this is energy work. This is really, it's an ancient modality, but it's it's as prevalent as the sun. Like the way I explain it to people who don't understand, it's like if you walk outside, if you're not on the complete opposite side of the planet, you will see the same sun I do. You can get vitamin D. I don't know how a fireball in the middle of space gives you vitamin D, but apparently it does. So it also, it's a universal energy, and that's how I explain Reiki, because I can't explain Reiki. So, but what it did when I became attuned to it was it opened up my psychic sight in this unbelievably beautiful way. And I am actually writing, I have to share this with you because you're definitely on board. I'm writing a whole world, like a whole major script world about our human abilities that we don't fully understand. And they are fully fledged when we're tiny little babies, and then they atrophy because everyone's like,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You're almost psychic when you're a baby.
You are.
Yeah. You're so intuitive.
They're like, oh, babies
Kids
and dogs
are so
see
intuitive.
things.
Yeah.
They're so intuitive.
Yeah,
Why
and
don't
they
we
see
just
things.
pass that off?
Yeah.
Babies and dogs see things? Can we go
remember
back to that for a second?
I remember my baby. She was looking at. She was clearly seeing something, and I
Yes.
swear she was seeing my mother-in-law who had passed away. I was like, Pat's here. Something's happened. Like
Yeah.
she was definitely looking at something.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
The last frontier to me is this untapped aspect of consciousness. And if you haven't read The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown, I'm not getting paid for this ad. It's the most amazing way to understand what we're capable of. His new book out. He did Da Vinci Code and all this fun.
So wait, you're writing a script?
So I'm writing a script
Like a-
in this
like a
world.
film
it's a
or a
big
TV?
world.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
You're already in. You don't have a choice.
Me.
Well, I just met you.
This is your audition.
You're auditioning
This is my
right now.
audition? Okay.
I'm already getting
right.
a feel for which character you are, and you're not from this world. I'll tell you one thing.
I could have told you that the second you sat down.
You're from another planet, baby. Which those characters are way more fun, just so you know. It's an absurd world. You're gonna laugh so hard. But I tapped into this world that I didn't like. I experienced it with ayahuasca and these plant medicines. But you think you say the word hallucination and you think that's not real. I'm just gonna leave that there. Period. Full stop. The end. New topic.
I get that. I get where you're going there.
So you got offered days.
My psychic sight opens up.
Yeah.
And I get
No, I
offered,
know, but
I get offered
I'm
days.
trying not to-
By the time I was offered days, I had already had several projects where I go into a quiet space. I see these beautiful council of white light beings, and I ask them, is this for my highest good? And I get a very definitive yes, no, or a wobble energy, which I have interpreted as you're not to know at this time. There's more to it. Ask a different version of this question. And I ask, this is totally giving out my negotiation, everything. I ask how much to ask for. I ask every detail now. And the days I had already done like my first project ever where I asked every step of the way, and I can't tell you how much magic there was with that project. It was amazing. So when Marnie asked, my team was like, daytime, this and that, and this will be the thing. It's a different schedule. It's different, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, got it. Yeah, no, these are not the criteria by which I will be making this decision, but thank you. Give me all the information. And I got off the phone and I closed my eyes and I already felt it, which we already do have clear cognizance, that knowing. But I liked at that time to really just double down. And I said, is this where we're going? Am I going back to LA? Am I saying yes to days? Is this what's happening? And it was a full body yes. They are always unanimous, even though I'll be like, Archangel Michael, come here. Is this really what we're doing? And he's like, I'm unanimous with the rest of the beings. We're all one. It is the oneness. But it was so I do everything on that.
It feels, I hate to trivialize
And now
it.
you have an Emmy nomination.
I was like, am I getting that? They're like, wobble, wobble.
They said that about the nomination?
You're not allowed to know yet. They're keeping me in the suspense.
I need to have a chat with Archangel Michael.
Come to my Buddha room and let your heart rate slow, and we'll talk to Archangel Michael.
We'll run lines later, but we're gonna just meditate. This has been so incredible. So you are just, I knew this before, but and I even texted you saying, doing my little deep dive on you, just opened up my heart more to you than it already was. So I adore you. Thank
I don't
you.
even know you, and I just think you're really a great person.
Thank you.
You're so like articulate and fun and
I had to bring the fun. Greg's here.
I mean,
Greg is
beautiful
always
and
bringing the
talented.
fun.
I do bring the fun, don't I?
You do. You bring the fun.
thanks.
We
Yeah.
all get so excited when you show
Oh,
up.
say more.
He literally looks like a grown small boy when because his hair looks like he just woke up from a 7-hour nap, and we're like, oh my God, Greg's here, and doesn't he look like a cute little boy? He does.
That's
you
very
make all of
sweet.
us giggle.
Thanks.
oh, don't
well,
stroke him too much.
I always love when we get to work together, which is not often. But wait, we
often
should
enough.
talk for like a hot second about Kat Green because she's an ISA agent.
Yes.
How is that? How do you like playing a character who is not just somebody who, you know, when you work on a show like 9-0, where there's a little bit of character progression over an entire season, but here it's like we're banging out these shows every day, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
So how do you like the pace, and how do you like the character development? How do you tell us about Kat?
I love the pace because I'm ADD, and I'm like, are we still doing the same scene?
We do too.
We're the
We
same.
do too.
I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, I love independent film work because it was like 2 takes.
yeah.
Days is
And
even
it's
better.
kind of like
It's just one.
improv. It's kind of like improv. You're like, well,
Or theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I appreciate, it is like theater. I appreciate that there's a lot of trust. The actors are just do what you do. And if they tweak anything, it's story typically. It's
Yeah.
like I am not asking for hovercraft parenting and directing. Those are I like to be free to, let my own wings reach their full wingspan. So I really love that we get to kind of almost direct ourselves and each other. I appreciate the support of the other actors of like, what if we did this together? And it's very collaborative in
Yeah.
that regard.
It's a nice community too,
Yeah.
the soap community.
Yeah, it really is. I feel really, really lucky to have that. And then with Kat Green, this wild lady that I'm playing, I had no idea what I was in for because the writers didn't. We were on a writer's strike when we were coming off
right.
of that. So there was a lot of just unknown as to like what was happening, and so it was just kind of like, here's the frying pan, jump on in, we'll figure it out. And once I found out she was an IS agent, I was kind of cracking up because I accidentally was brilliant. I was like, Dan Furgal.
Yeah.
Dan
Who
was
plays
the one
EJ?
who plays EJ. He had told me, he's like, if you have a direction you want to take it, just start acting in that direction. I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, you if you're feeling something, kind of steer it there. And the writers oftentimes will like go with what you're offering. And I really love that. And so I took that note in and I was like, well, what would I want if I was just creating this? And I've never played I've always kind of played like fierce or villainy or vixen. I've never played kind of like loosey goosey. And so I started this full Goldie Hawn trajectory with Kat Green. And then one day I'm like, ISH. I created the dumb blonde.
But that's kind of brilliant.
That is kind of
But
brilliant.
then it made me kind of brilliant. It was like, I planned this all along, actually. This is my cover. But so she's like hot mess energy, like Lucille Ball, sometimes with Chad
love
Demira's
that.
character,
Yeah.
her the one she loves. And I have had so much fun doing that. And it's actually made layering the new aspects of Kat being an IS agent and all of these things she's getting into now even more colorful and fun. So I'm just having way too much fun. Don't tell them I'm having too much fun.
Well, you're writing too at the same time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, I adore working with you. You are a hoot on set. You're a hoot off set. And
thank you for being here.
Yeah, come back and see us again, will
If
ya?
you want to catch AnnaLynne McCord on Days of Our Lives, you can watch that on Peacock.
on Peacock.
You can binge. You can watch every day.
Yes. There's 60 years worth of binging. I'm not in 48 of them or 58 of them, but
Just watch since 2024.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you so
and-
much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us today on Soapy. You can find this episode and all episodes of Soapy on the CBS YouTube channel, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. On behalf of me, Rebecca, and everybody here at Soapy, thanks for watching.